That's so great. I get to welcome Sviat, the Chief Strategy Officer at Bright Machines here at Infra AI. Welcome, Sviat.
Thank you, Keith. Great to be here.
Yeah, it's wonderful to have you. And we get to talk about the changing economics that AI and robotics have foisted upon us. Give us your thoughts from a Bright Machines perspective.
Yeah, it's a fascinating topic, by the
Yeah.
way, because, I mean, first of all, AI infra is an important topic, of course, and we've seen AI changing the world in the last few years. But mostly you think about LLMs, right? And you think about how you can write poems, you can write an email, you can maybe code a mini game, maybe you can create a picture, like an image or art. But like what really changes right now, and like economics-wise, it's about AI enters the physical space. And then you do that through robotics. And you know, we are on the verge of revolution because if you excel in it, robots can be so capable and they're going to help us, human beings, to be more capable in other things, right? So we can use robots to build buildings for us, to build machines for us, to build electronics for us. And that's what we are excited at Bright Machines. And we're excited because we're one of those leaders who push for that, because we use robotics and AI to build most complex electronics. So that's fascinating.
Where are we at today in the curve for robotics and its usage?
I think from the models perspective, it's really, really early days. Like everybody speaks about foundational models. It's going to take time to get to something really impressive. But from robotics perspective, I think current robots are, I mean, you know, they're really well built. I'm not talking about humanoids, it's more about use case-based applications, like you use a robotic hand, you use a special end of arm for pick and place or for screw driving. I think that is pretty developed right now. And then there's more to go for other types of robotics like humanoid robots, so it's going to take also time.
So what do we need to see happen from an infrastructure standpoint then to help accelerate that deployment of robotics, AI usage?
I think that's what everybody's pushing for. You need, like, first of all, you need a lot of data. That's the challenge for robotics because, like, you know, when foundational models like, you know, ChatGPT and stuff, they learn based on the internet, right? It's like vast, massive data.
Yeah.
For robotics, you don't have that much data. So you either do simulation, which is not real world, or you do a lot of repetition in real world. So you can see that in San Francisco, like Waymo initially was teaching, like learning, driving the streets and then training the models, right? Like that would be a bottleneck and a challenge. It's not about infra, it's more about like time and data needed to train it. And then on the other hand, everybody's building huge data centers right now for AI infrastructure. That's going to help both LLMs, but also going to help the foundation models for robotics because you need the compute power.
Right.
And you know, again, we are helping them build it, so hopefully we're going to be one of those guys who are going to help improve the speed of deployment of robotics and AI.
I see that happening very quickly. Now talk to me about balancing out the need for mass amounts of energy and power with the need for integrated into a city's planning strategy and like having real world implementations.
That's a really good point. I think, I mean, first of all, let's be clear, like not every state or city is ready for those massive data centers because of energy and because of other reasons, right? So you need to be smart and also think about cooling. It's not only about energy that you need to test those servers based on GPUs, but also you need a lot of energy
Huge
for
issue,
cooling. Huge issue, right? So even when you think about like, oh, let's build a cooling thing in Texas, I guess like sounds great, but like also in summer it's going to be double challenging, you know. So you know it is about
They have their own grid issues as we speak. Yeah.
Right, or like think about California and like grid issues already with like fires and stuff. So you need to be smart of where you want to build it. And to your point, I think you need to be smart if you could combine where you build the infrastructure and where do you deploy it. Because when you build it, you still need that same energy to test those servers and GPUs, and you kind of burn them, and then you take those racks and GPUs and move them to the data center. So the question is, like, do you need it to be in several locations, or can you optimize and actually have like one location, maybe co-locate building servers and GPUs, and actually placing them into the data center to run them?
So with Bright Machines, you serve a global market. Where are you seeing the most demand?
We served the global market historically, and we are open to work with any country, but right now we see most of the demand in the US because of the push on reshoring.
Okay.
And you know, it has been happening since I think COVID years, when the whole world realized that supply chain could be broken easily. And so everybody started thinking how we can optimize to have supply chain closer to home. And right now it's, you know, the push and tariffs and all that stuff. So we see a lot of interest and demand in the US market.
Yeah, well, with the head of strategy, I got to ask, what are your biggest concerns and what are the biggest opportunities looking 0 to 12, 24 months out?
Yeah, I think the concern is, when the market isn't at uncertainty, and we can recognize that, it is kind of uncertain because many changes are happening every week, right? Companies become really careful with their choices, and that could kind of delay innovation. So it is kind of a concern because some big companies can say, like, look, we can wait another quarter to see what's going to happen, but for like innovation, 1 quarter can mean a lot, right? Because you can push harder and just innovate faster and deploy like new technology versus just waiting another quarter or two. Because other countries, like I don't know, look at China, they're not going to wait, they're just going to deploy it. So that's kind of a concern. I think as an opportunity, as we discussed, the biggest opportunity is to align the sector. I'm speaking about right now manufacturing, to align the sector that you need to leverage robotics, AI to make it happen and to bring manufacturing back. And when you align everybody, the opportunity is enormous. I was just on the stage talking about like $10 trillion opportunity to bring manufacturing back in the US, to the US. And again, that you don't have enough labor here, so you cannot do like it manually. So you can realize on this huge potential, maybe not 2 years, maybe 10 years. You asked about 24 months, but maybe 10 years. But for that, you need alignment of the industry leaders, of the government. That's the leverage you're going to push, like robotics, AI software, and leverage and data that you create to make it more efficient.
Okay, so now we're going to go out to 2030. What do I see radically different as I, cover the landscape?
You're going to see much more use, I think, of simulation. It's going to become much more mature. I think right now there's like also, not early days, but day 3, maybe out of 10, but it's getting better, right? And I think the simulation can help a lot with simulating physics and how you design tools before you actually bring them to real life. And then going to cut the cycles, and it can do a lot of repetitions in simulation when you design a product, for example. So you're going to see a lot more use of that. You're going to see a lot of more use of robotics as part of the manufacturing processes and maybe construction processes and other things because it's getting more and more mature. Also in physical space, I think you're going to see more examples of like what we see in San Francisco with Waymo. It's a little bit further in the curve versus everything else, maybe because of precision, because again, driving a car, when you go 1 inch left or 1 inch right, not a huge deal when you park, but when you build electronics like we do, and we operate like 75 micron level precision, you go left 25 microns, you break the ledge. So you cannot go this way. But you're going to see much more of Waymo in other industries like autonomous construction, autonomous manufacturing, autonomous cleaning, autonomous medical services, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, Sviat, that's fantastic. We've got to run, but I encourage everybody to check out your talk that you gave on stage here. It was fantastic. Appreciate you stopping by.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.